and this is our morning meditation. So, this morning I'll do a reading from 365 Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. And during this time, also, we'll have silent meditation for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then I'll do a reading and pray us out. Today, I experience the creativity of faith. Thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee, and the light shall shine on thy ways. Job 22:28. Faith acts like a law because it is a law. It is the law of mind in action. When we realize this, we no longer feel that we must have faith in ourselves as insulated beings, but rather that as human beings we are included in the great law of life. Then we can rest in complete confidence that our words, spoken in this faith, are the presence and the power and the activity of spirit in us. All efforts to make things happen or to concentrate the mind is put aside, and with quiet, childlike acceptance, we make known our requests with thanksgiving. We are one with God. Nothing can separate us from this source. And now I invite you to take a deep breath. And as you release it, just relax into the moment, knowing that God is our source. I invite you to bring your attention back into your bodies and back into the room. Wiggle your fingers and toes and take another breath. And I'll do this short reading to close us out. Letting our faith be of God's presence and power, we can each say, all that I am and all that I do is the divine presence expressing itself through me. Because God speaks them through me, of myself I give no authority to my prayer, but the child of God in me knows that the authority of the Almighty brings to pass the words I speak. And so I speak the words of faith, the words of truth, the words of love and beauty. And I release this treatment into the law of love, knowing that it is so. And I'm grateful for the creativity, the faith, and the love that is mine to have and mine to share. And so it is. And now I invite you to take a quick break and then join us for our service, which starts at 10:15.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living. Whether you are joining us here at 4 Points by Sheridan or whether you have invited us into your homes today, we are very grateful that you are with us. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Dusty Rippelmeyer, and I have the honor and the privilege of being this community's spiritual director. We're part of a larger organization called Centers for Spiritual Living. Centers for Spiritual Living believe that there is one power and presence that is back of everything that there is, that creative energy that created everything out of itself in its image and likeness. We believe that presence is really a concept, an energy that is within us and not some external being outside of us. We believe that since it is creative and created everything that we can see and everything that we can't see, and because we were created in its image and likeness, that we too have the ability to create. And in fact, have been doing so every day of our lives since we arrived on the planet. The question is, have we been doing so consciously or have we been doing so unconsciously? And so we gather together to talk about the principles and the practices and to support each other as we learn to really consciously create the experiences that we wish to experience and the lives that we wish to be living. And so for that, we're really grateful that you have joined us. I have the first announcement for today is that our flower dedication is really for Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, whose birthday is actually today, although he will be celebrated across the nation tomorrow on the official day of remembrance. Now, Dr. King, as most of us probably already know, is regarded as America's preeminent advocate of nonviolence and one of the greatest nonviolent leaders in world history. During the less than 13 years of his leadership from December 1955 until April 4th, 1968, African Americans achieved more genuine progress towards racial equality in America than the previous 350 years had ever produced. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King led an extraordinary life. At age 33, he was pressing the case for civil rights with President John F. Kennedy. At age 35, he was the youngest man to have received the Nobel Peace Prize. At 34, he galvanized the nation with his I Have a Dream speech. At 35, and at 39, he was assassinated, but left a legacy of hope and inspiration that continues today. Early in his career, Martin Luther King preached about the need to have three dimensions in life. And those three dimensions were length, breadth, and height. Length is about our connection to ourselves, breadth is about our connection to our community, and height is about our connection to the transcendent. He said, if these three dimensions are out of whack, if even one of these three dimensions are out of whack, King said, we will be too. He was an amazing orator whose quotes have been used thousands of times by thousands of people. And I'm going to share a couple of them today with all of us because they very much resonate with our teaching. He says, all life is interrelated, that somehow we're caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. And he also said, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a burden to bear. So let's hold out our hands to Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. Today, tomorrow, and every day we see you. We know who you really are. We are grateful for you and all that you did and all that you stood for. Today, tomorrow, and every day we honor you and we celebrate you. And so it is. So I'll tell you, we have about a billion things. Well, billion could be a little bit of an exaggeration of things going on at the center. So from this moment on, we are going to be having an announcement sheet that will be available to you as you exit the sanctuary following the service. When something is coming up that's new, we'll announce it for a couple of times, but then it will end up on that sheet. So we'll announce it from the pulpit for a couple of times, but otherwise the announcements get longer than the service, which might be interesting for some of you, but that's not the way that we need it to be. So, the other thing to remind you is that we have a Wednesday newsletter. And if you haven't been getting the Wednesday newsletter, please reach out to Heather or sign the sheet that's out front if you're here at 4 Points, or reach out to Heather so that you can get that Wednesday newsletter. And I encourage you that when you get it, to open it up and take a look at it, because everything that's happening will also be there so that you can get that. Plus there's, some other things that are on there, but it would be really great if you were to do that. And also you can always go to the website. So either one of those places, the Wednesday newsletter or the website, will keep you up to date on all of the happenings that are happening around here, because you don't want to miss one single one of them. I have one last thing, and that is a bit of prayer humor for you today, since we are talking this month about spiritual mind treatment. So a woman was feeling rather stressed because she was driving to a very important business meeting and she couldn't find a parking space. So she began praying, God, if you'll create a parking space for me, I promise to be a better person. I'll practice my faith. I will be kind to everyone, and I will give up my vices. Just then, a parking space opened up, and as she was pulling into it, concluded her prayer, never mind, I found one. I would like to take a moment to thank licensed spiritual practitioner Barbara Kane for her beautiful meditation that expanded the container that our service will unfold within. So thank you very much, Babs. And speaking of Babs, let's all welcome her back to the podium.
Thank you, young lady. Sorry. I know that's not the way you want it to be, but the theme for 2023 is Living Out Loud. Our theme for the month of January is Root and Reboot. Reverend Dusty's talk title is The Internal Song. I'm now going to read this community's purpose statement. This is our reason for being here. Our purpose is to inspire, educate, and empower individuals to experience themselves as unique and individualized expressions of God, the love intelligence that governs the universe. We are committed to not merely a theoretical understanding of our oneness and unity with God, but to consciously practice this truth in our everyday lives. Through celebration, service, study, and fellowship, we are committed to the transformation of our personal lives and to being a powerful and beneficial presence on the planet. With the energy of unconditional love, simply, we are here for God. And now I invite you to turn within, open your heart and mind, and allow the healing sounds of the crystal bowls to simply wash over you. welcome you to bring your attention back into your bodies and into the room. And when you're ready to open your eyes, I invite Betty and Eileen to come up and help me with the blessings of all faiths. The Triangle Center for Spiritual Living honors the diversity and threads of truth that run through all spiritual paths as represented by this ceremony. Christianity is the path of Christ consciousness, love, and forgiveness. Buddhism is the path of compassion and understanding. Judaism is the ethical path of living by sacred law. Baha'i is the path of unity and peace. Islam is the path of submission to the will of God, the highest calling. Confucianism is the path of deliberate tradition. Taoism is the natural way, the path of ultimate reality. Native American practice and shamanic traditions are the paths of primal spirituality. Shintoism is the path of tribal ancestry. Hinduism is the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. Science of mind and spirit is the path of the divine principle of love and law. And the heart represents the one heart, the one love that resides at the center of all people and all beings everywhere, with no exceptions. May peace prevail on earth through the followers of all paths. And so it is. Thank you, ladies. And now I invite you to close your eyes for a moment while I speak a blessing on the service. And in this blessing, I speak the word of health and faith for our feelings and our thoughts, knowing that the Father within is the power that brings this wholeness into complete being. I speak the word of divine guidance, and the wisdom of the universe wells up as a beacon to lead me into the paths of righteousness, to make straight and clear my everyday paths. I speak the word of joy, and the Father within frees me from loneliness and sadness. I speak the word of peace to the world, and know that the peace of God reaches into the hearts and minds of people of all nations. And I speak a blessing on Reverend Dusty as she brings us the joy and inspiration of our beautiful, wonderful world. I know that she is a blessing and that she is blessed through her work for this community. And I speak a blessing on all the volunteers that came forward to make this service possible, the setup team, the AV team, everyone behind the scenes. And I speak a blessing on our wonderful musical inspiration, Miles and Latha, today, as they gift us with their inspiration of song. And I'm so grateful to know that our community is truly blessed, that the love and the joy and the heartfeltness of every person here today and within the sound of my voice lifts and is lifted through this inspiration. And so I release my word into the law of love, and so it is. The reading for today is from Ernest Holmes. He says, spiritual mind treatment is about knowing truth. This is not a relative truth, as in your truth or mine. Individual truths are based on fact and only influence our individual realities. The truth I speak of is unconditional and unchanging. An awareness of truth requires that you observe the universe in its full and absolute state of existence. When considering the all of life, we observe that there is a sense of perfect order. The sun comes up every morning, the phases of the moon are always predictable, the seasons change in a consistent fashion, the tides come in and go out on a precise timetable, and the universe always moves in perfect balance. When we draw our understanding of life from what has happened in the past, we live in the limited reality of facts. However, when we know what is true in the all of spirit, we are not limited to creating only that which we have previously experienced. Instead, we are open to creating whatever we can imagine in the unlimited potential of spirit. Yay! And now I'd like to introduce Miles and Latha Costin as they gift us with song and inspiration.
All right. Thank you so much for having us. It's always good to be here. We're going to start out with a song written by a gentleman named Tom Kimmel, who has been around the empowered music sector. But this is called Standing Still. You're moving and shaking, fixing and breaking, even when I can't see. You're listening and healing, molding and freeing someone like me. I was running in circles, jumping the hurdles, not trusting your love. But I feel your love all around me now, and I'm standing still. You're breathing and filling, fueling and building my broken spirit. You talk to me, shout at me, speak right out loud to me, even when I don't hear it. I was so busy searching, painfully hurting for a dream I could not fill. But I see how you bring it to me now, and I'm standing still. I hear your voice again, my old familiar friend, telling me just where the struggle is and where love begins, where real love I was so busy searching, painfully hurting for a dream I could not fill. But I see how you bring it to me now, and I'm standing still. You're moving and shaking, mixing and breaking, even when I can't see. You're listening and healing, molding and freeing someone like me. I was so busy searching, painfully hurting for a dream I could not fill. But I see how you bring it to me now, and I'm standing still. Yes, I feel your love all around standing still. Oh yes, I feel your love around now when I'm standing still.
Beautiful song. I have not ever heard that one before. It was absolutely lovely. Thank you both so very much for being here and blessing us with that song. So I love the flow and the layout of this month's talk titles and messages. It's really a lovely way to not only share the principles, the underlying principles and practices of the science of mind, but it's also a really lovely way to share this process called spiritual mind treatment. Now, this is very important, this idea of a spiritual mind treatment, to each and every single one of us, because it is our primary and most significant methodology to intentional manifestation, to conscious creation. Now, it is consciously producing a desired outcome through the spiritual principles of the science of mind to bring about a greater good, or perhaps a more abundant life, or a better condition than the one that we have been experiencing. Internal manifestation invites us to exercise our freedom of choice, our freedom to really create lives that we love to live. Ernest Holmes says the use of spiritual mind treatment of necessity is based on the idea that there is an intelligent law in the universe which receives the impress of our thoughts as we think them and acts upon them without question, without argument, without rationality. It creates for us in our experience that content of our thought with mathematical accuracy. This is the law of the mind. To the degree we understand our unity with Spirit or God and give to the law only ideas of good, we expand our thought and free ourselves from the negative consequences of our previous limited thinking. As Babs would say, that's good. Woohoo. So our mind is operating through the universal laws and the universal principles that operate through the universal mind or God, right, to create. Thus, we co-create a new reality for ourselves through this practice. The process uses our mental faculties of imagination and trained thought and disciplined emotion to really induce a new belief and a new expectation into our lives. Inducing a new belief and a new expectation is really a very deliberate and a very conscious act. Yes, I said earlier that sometimes we create unconsciously, but this is a very deliberate and a very conscious act. A treatment, if you will, is a treatment for our thoughts, a treatment for our attitudes, a treatment for our beliefs, a treatment for our emotions, a treatment for our consciousness, a treatment to bring about a new awareness into our internal landscape and thereby introducing a new condition into the external. This is the way that it works. Utilizing spiritual mind treatment means really attuning ourselves to the invisible, attuning ourselves to the divine, attuning ourselves to God. And then contemplating the qualities that we believe are a part of God, and then seeing ourselves as partaking of and being a part of that eternal divine perfection. We are that. So the first Sunday of the month, I said that there was 5 steps to a spiritual mind treatment, and we dove deeper into that first step called recognition. Now, in this step, we recognize God, and we recognize that God is all that there is. We affirm that God is a concept within us and not some being outside of us, external to us. Last Sunday, Reverend Tom spoke about the second step in a talk title called The Universal Voice. Now, the second step is called unification. And in that step, we speak to the truth that the power and presence of God is everywhere at all times, in its fullness and in its wholeness, and that we are one with it. We are connected to everything and everyone through that golden thread of God's stuff that weaves itself throughout all of life. Unification. Now, today, my talk title is The Internal Song. And as you can imagine, we are talking about the third step, which is called realization. Now, after those first 2 steps, we come into the third step, consciously aware. Because we've done those first 2 steps, we are consciously aware of spirit in, as, and through everything and of our oneness with it. We are now realizing without any doubt or reservation, we've aligned ourselves with God. In this moment, we have no doubt or reservation that the good that we desire to experience in our lives is already established in spirit, is already and always our true nature. Our true nature. In the realization, we have no need, like the woman looking for the parking space in this morning's announcement, we have no need for begging or beseeching or bargaining with God. We have only to align ourselves with our true nature in order to set into motion a new cause which takes form in our experience. Our words are clothed in form, even as we speak them. This is the internal song. Throughout my years in science of mind, I have always heard this third step called realization, until I read Reverend Dr. John Waterhouse's book, 5 Steps to Freedom. And in the book, he speaks of 3 different names for this step, which I actually really love. Now, he says the first name assigned to the third step is declaration. By declaring that some condition or outcome exists, we establish it in the mind of spirit and allow the creative process to manifest our declaration into physical form. The second name for the third step is affirmation. The use of this term brings to mind 2 separate points. First, when we affirm that some condition or objective already exists, we are asserting a creative influence over its manifestation. In other words, if we claim it is so with clarity and conviction, then the universe will support it being so. Second, the root word in affirmation is firm, meaning that when we affirm an idea, we are making that idea firm, solid, and evident to our physical senses. Do you like this so far? Now, the third name for the third step is spiritual mind treatment is realization, which means that we use this step to realize that the truth of spirit is greater than any conditions we experience. The idea of realization involves moving our awareness from the world of physical conditions into the realm of causation. By realizing truth, we transcend the limitations of physical appearances. I love that. So, regardless of whatever name we choose to use, the bottom line is that we are declaring, affirming, or realizing that the outcome we seek already exists in the mind of spirit and that it is available to us according to our beliefs. Jesus told us that. It is done unto you as you believe. Now, regardless of the name that we choose to call it, we are letting loose a new cause into the action of the universal creative power. This is a power that we can use, a power that we can use to create something new in our lives. We are now directing the creative power of mind, which responds to us, according to our conviction and to our acceptance of it. It is God can only do to us what God can do through us. So our conviction and our acceptance. So the challenge is, right? The challenge is, what are we affirming? What are we realizing? What are we declaring? And are we doing this consciously or are we doing this unconsciously? The truth is that we are more often than not, more often than we realize, more often than we want to, actually using this process unconsciously. The relationships and conditions that we are experiencing in our lives put into motion through our thoughts and our words and our beliefs. So I am is a prayer. I am beautiful, and the universe says, yes, you are, and demonstrates a whole bunch of things in your experience that prove that you are. I am stupid is another prayer, and the universe hears that and responds just like it would to I am beautiful. Remember, with no regard, with no judgment. And then it goes about bringing into our experience things that prove, well, see there, I told you, I am stupid. So we have to pay attention. We have to know that our words, our thoughts, and our beliefs often do not support our highest and best. They do not always reflect the truth of who we really are at our core. You know, people often talk about old tapes that run through their minds. Now, perhaps it's our own voice that made up a story after going through an experience when we were younger, out of which we told ourselves something about ourselves and our lives, and then continued to believe it and believe it and believe it, even though it might not have been true and certainly doesn't always reflect the truth of who we are. Perhaps it was the voice of a parent or a teacher who was trying to guide us in our youth, however, thinking they were kind, thinking they were right, but really very unskillful. The voice can later become internalized as a beating drum. You've heard that one. A beating drum that undermines our choice to grow, that undermines our choice to experience a more fulfilling life. Now, our thoughts are not only a collection of our personal experiences, but the thoughts of the collective unconsciousness of the world itself. We often have a body of ideas or rules or standards or norms that we have bought into and that play out in our world decade after decade and century after century. Now, these appear in beliefs such as war is inevitable. It's out there, right? It's out there in that collective consciousness, but is it true? These negative thoughts and old tapes and relentless voices are often so loud that they drowned out our own internal song. They do not allow us to hear it. We cannot know that love is present where we are until we get still. Miles and Letha just sang about that. Because of this, it's so very important to do the inner work to really identify and unpack those other voices, those other thoughts, and to learn to really reverently listen for and to our own internal divine voice. This is one of the greatest gifts of spiritual mind treatment. Now, we know by beginning the truth of who we are and slowly recognizing that in the eyes of spirit, there is only growth. That in the eyes of spirit, there is only good. That in the eyes of spirit, there is only an ever expanding experience. Anything unlike this is not of spirit and can and should be released from our consciousness. When we think and believe in illness and disease, we expand that experience in our lives. As we consider health, we align our body, mind, and spirit to a greater reality, to a greater truth, and thereby invite a greater ability to live in an expanded sense of possibility. When we think and believe that we are impoverished, we limit our possibilities. When we know that there is only abundance, we open our mind to a bigger idea that actually upends any prior belief in lack and limitation. When we think and believe that we are loveless, that we are not enough, then we crowd out friendships and relationships from our lives. As we recognize our oneness with the divine and our part in the whole, we reach into that realm of possibilities. And as we recognize what is already there, the love, the peace, the joy, the creativity, the wisdom, the abundance, the freedom of the divine, then we expand our experience. We expand our experience of those qualities within our own lives. Emmett Fox, in his book, The Mental Equivalent, tells a story about a citizen in the Middle Ages. Apparently, this citizen was arrested by a baron and shut up in a dungeon in one of the baron's castles. The citizen was taken down dark stairs, down, 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 by a ferocious-looking jailer who carried a great key that was over a foot long. Now the door of the cell was opened, and the citizen was thrust into the dark hole, and the door was shut with a bang, and there he was. He lay in the dark dungeon for 20 years. Each day the jailer came, and he opened the big door with a great creaking and groaning. Not sure if that was him or the door. A pitcher of water and a loaf of bread was thrust in, and then the door was closed again. Now, after 20 years, the prisoner decided that he could stand it no longer. He wanted to die, but he did not want to commit suicide. So he decided that when the jailer came in, he was going to ambush him. He would ambush him, and that he would attack him. And his idea was that the jailer would then kill him in self-defense, and thus his misery would end. So he decided to examine the door carefully so as to be ready for the following day. Going over, he caught the handle and turned it. To his amazement, the door opened. Upon investigation, he discovered that there was absolutely no lock on it and that there never had been. For 20 years, he had not been locked in except in his belief. Ernest Holmes says, treatment opens up the avenues of thought, expands the consciousness, and lets reality through. That's reality with a capital R. It clarifies the mentality, removes the obstructions of thought, and lets in the light. It removes doubt and fear in the realization of the presence of spirit and is necessary while we are confronted by obstacles or obstructions. We already live in a perfect universe, but it needs to be seen mentally before it can become a part of our experience. So, speaking of the need to be seen mentally, having a mental equivalent means that we have a subjective idea of what we desire to experience. Everything objective in the world has a mental equivalent back of it, a mental image of what we want. Now, we need to consider what our mental equivalent is when we are working to activate our conscious mind. All of us find ourselves wanting something at some point in time in another, and perhaps many points in time in our lives. But rarely do we take the time to realize that our wanting has two parts to it. The first part is the form of what we want, and the second part is the experience that we desire from what we want. Right? So the form of what we want and the experience that we desire and think that we will get from that form. Right? Now, knowing this, the invitation is to really consider that what we treat for, or what we affirmative do this spiritual mind treatment for, is not so much the new house that we might want, but what it represents. So perhaps that is safety and security, or perhaps it's a family, or it might be a refuge, or a retreat, or a deeper sense of comfort. It could be freedom, or it could be expansion. There's many different things, and each one of us that desires to have a house or a home will have a different reason underlying that, a different experience, a different feeling tone that we want to have through what we think we'll get through having that house, right? So whatever home means to us, we need to include that. We may say we want a new house, but the fact of the matter remains that spirit might have an even bigger idea for us than we could ever imagine. And how many times has it happened that we wanted the house, or we wanted the car, or we wanted the lover, or we wanted whatever, this particular job, and we found out that it never really gave us what we really wanted. Right? We were still unfulfilled, perhaps, right? So we need to really consider deeply what it is that we want and what we want to experience. And then to include that underlying idea in our conscious, intentional spiritual mind treatment. Because then what we do is we really open ourselves to all that the universe has for us, to all of the different ways that it might bring that underlying idea to us, that underlying feeling tone to us. Why would we want to limit ourselves? You can also pray for the house, but to really be able to include that feeling tone into it. In the realization step, we use positive affirmations, always positive, spoken in first person, and in real time. Not I'm going to, but I am. In real time, aligning us with that which we desire, that experience that we wish to have, knowing that while it might not be our current experience in the world of form, that on the spiritual side of life, it is already so. It is already so. During this step, we consciously dissolve or erase or release whatever has caused the difficulty in our past. We erase or dissolve anything unlike the truth. We're willing to give up our false beliefs, those stories that we told ourselves about ourselves, our opinions that perhaps we got from race consciousness, the attitudes that we've had, and to really use whatever words are needed to establish the feeling of already having what we desire. To put on the coat of the person who already has the thing or who is already experiencing the thing that we desire to have. The invitation today is to be bold in our expression of life, to state clearly and with conviction that the one life, God's life, is our life right now. That we step forward into this life with confidence, knowing that everything that is necessary for it to come to fulfillment is already within it. Like the oak tree is already within the acorn. So it's already within it, and that the universe will bring whatever we need and will reveal to us whatever that need is. In his book, The Book of Awakenings, Mark Nepo tells a story of a young divinity student who was diagnosed with polio. During this time, from somewhere deep within him came a voice calling him to dance. Of all things, to dance. So with great difficulty, he quit divinity school and began to dance. And slowly and miraculously, he not only regained the use of his legs, but he went on to become one of the fathers of modern dance. This is the true story of a man named Ted Shawn. Now, it's important for us to understand that studying God did not heal him. Embodying God did. Ted Shawn's miracle shows us that we are to live our theology, that we are to live it. It encourages us all to step into the inescapable act of living out what we have been keeping inside of us, of daring to breathe into muscles and bones what we know and feel and believe again and again and again. The world needs whatever it is that we are, whatever we came here to be. Only we can do that in the exact way that we can do that. The world needs us. The fullness of our expression is a gift for ourselves, for our community, and for the world. The invitation is to live our lives out loud from a deep and abiding awareness of our own unique internal song. And then to watch as we all co-create a world that works for everyone. And so it is. So I invite us to turn within. to allow ourselves to turn away from the world of form, away from those stories we might have told ourselves, away from that collective consciousness of the world, away from those ideas and beliefs that may have been around for a long, long time, but do not serve the highest and best of anyone, let alone everyone. And to turn our attention to the center of our being, that space and place that I call God, the spark of the divine within us. That benevolent, omnipresent being that is more than able, willing to give us the kingdom of heaven on earth. I know that I am one with this power and presence, that it is that which created me. And just as I know that this is my truth, I know that it is the truth of each and every person here at 4 Points by Sheridan this morning, each and every person that is watching this online, each and every person that will watch it later today, all sentient beings on the planet. We are all divine emanations of the One, ambassadors of its presence on the planet. And it is from that space of unity that I speak these words about and for each of us today. Truly knowing that we are creative beings. We are spiritual beings having a human incarnation, imbued with this power to co-create, this power to co-create lives that we absolutely love to live, this power to co-create and shift and transform and expand experiences that we are now having that we wish to be different. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that each and every single one of us can do this, that we can do this consciously. And I claim ease and grace for us around doing so. I declare that as we speak our positive intentions, as we recognize our oneness with Spirit, as we recognize and partake of the awesome qualities that God is, that we can draw them into our experiences by claiming them, by affirming that they are who and what we are right now, and with the conviction of someone who already has what it is we are claiming. Our words are clothed in form. They become the experience of our life. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is how it works. And I claim ease and grace for each of us around using this power, using this creative process, standing firmly grounded in our spiritual practices and in our spiritual principles, and know who and what we are. Claim it, affirm it, declare it, realize it, stand firmly grounded in it, and watch as it becomes our experience. I'm so grateful to know this truth, so grateful to speak these words, so grateful for the power of prayer, knowing that these words are loosed into a law that only ever says yes, that my words are clothed in form even as they are spoken. And so I speak them and I release them with love and gratitude and expectation of their manifestation. Letting go and letting God be God. I invite each of us to anchor this prayer for ourselves, for each other, for our community, and for the world, simply by saying, and so it is, and so it is. Thank you all. It is now time for our conscious giving. The Triangle Center for Spiritual Living is sustained by the giving of our time, talent, and treasure. This is a time every week when we offer financial support to assist this community to continue to be a beacon of light and warmth and love in the Greater Triangle area. Together, we affirm the truth that today's offering lifts this spiritual community, prospers the one giving, and adds to the energy of sufficiency on the planet. There are several ways that you can give. Visit our website at Triangle CSL at www.trianglecsl.org. Text the word give using the following number 919-230-8445, or mail your gift to our office at P.O. Box 4062, Cary, North Carolina 27519. Please place your hand on your heart with your gift or an intention for yourselves or for this community, and let's say our offering affirmation in a call and response. Please repeat after me. I live in an abundant universe that blesses and prospers my life. Blesses and prospers my life. I give with gratitude, knowing that God is my source. And so it is. So it is. So I believe we have a slide coming up. Yes? Perhaps? Because I need it, because I didn't bring the information up here with me. So December financials, just to be transparent and to let everybody know. So our income in the month of December was $19,087. Our expenses were $13,990. And so our net revenue was $5,097 to the black. Woo! So we received a number of end of the year tithes, which for those of you who did that, we are very, very grateful. Thank you all of you so very much for your generosity. And so since we just finished a year, let's do the year, okay? So income, 2022 income, 157,977. We are a prosperous community. Expenses, $130,118, meaning our net revenue was $27,859. Woohoo! Awesome news. Thank you all so very much. This is an amazing community. I'm so grateful and proud to be a part of it. Thank you all so very much. And speaking of pride, let me welcome back to their instruments, the awesome Letha and Miles Costin.
Some of you folks, Heather, can we get a little bit more vocal?
In the room here.
Some of you folks may remember that we used to play in a trio, Transcenders. And this song we're going to do for you now was the only song that the three of the trio that we ever co-wrote together.
After being together for 20 years.
After being together for 20 years. However, none of us could find all the lyrics. So last night, Letha and I riding down the road, wrote the third verse.
We just made this stuff up. So
yeah, I mean, that's what songwriting is anyway. Making stuff up.
So we're going to give it our best. You've never heard it, but you'll be able to sing along with the chorus like that. Okay.
Yeah. So I wrote the chorus. It's called "I'm Free." 1, 2, 3, 4.
Free, I'm free. Free, I'm free. thoughts driven into dark places cause fear and anxiety. I can find my own oasis when I strive for free.
The new version now.
When I think that I just can't take it, a bugbear start chasing me. I turn around with my fear and face it. That's how I get free. I'm free.
Picture myself in the VW bus with my tie dye on going down there. And I know I've just dated myself, but that's all right. Woo! Okay. All right. I feel silly now getting to have to be serious again, but here we go. If anybody would like prayer, please go to our website at trianglecsl.org. On the homepage, there's a button in the upper right-hand corner. Click on that button and fill in the request form. We will get that prayer and send it out to all of the ministers and practitioners and expect a miracle. Or as some would say, an ordinary. If anyone would like, because miracles, ordinary, anyway, if anyone, miracles can be ordinary as long as we expect them. If anyone would like to dedicate a flower dedication to anyone for anything, please contact Heather Abbott at info@trianglecsl.org or Reverend Dusty at dustyrippelmeyer@yahoo.com. Coming this month, super excited, Carol, we are offering a brand new CSL course never taught before at Triangle CSL. Visioning, a way of life, is a 6-week class exploring a particular meditative practice known as visioning. In visioning, we turn down the volume of our small self minds, which are often filled with doubt and negative self talk, to receive the revelations of the spiritual wisdom of our higher selves. When practiced regularly, visioning can transform every aspect of our lives. It is a highly experiential course in which we participate in fun exercises to unlock the right brain and subconscious mind, have interactive discussions, journal about personal truths, and includes a full visioning session in each class. Visioning, a way of life, will be conducted via Zoom on 6 consecutive Thursday nights from 6:30 to 9:30 starting January 26th. It is taught by Carol Cross, a licensed practitioner at our center who also has a master's degree in education and over 30 years experience in teaching and learning. The cost is $195 with a $25 deposit. Payment plans are available. There is no prerequisite for this class, so everyone is welcome to join us in learning how to lead a vision led life, which contributes to our collective vision of creating a world that works for everyone. Please go to our website at trianglecsl.org to register. I'm going to sign up for that class. I'm telling you right now. I don't know about y'all, but I'm ready for like this new expansion in 2023. Yay. In 2014, the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living initiated our home group program. Integral to the small group model is the idea that each and every person within the community is supported by someone, and no person supports more than 10 to 12 people. A TCSL small group is a 6 to 12 member, an intimate group that meets monthly at one another's homes. While many of the groups continue today, we have also added a number of new groups over the years. Some of the groups were designed around geographical locations, some out of affinity, and some started out as foundation class members. TCSL leadership provides monthly structure and ideas for an in depth contemplation, conversation, deepening friendships, and sharing. The groups provide active ministry to each other and service to the larger community. Sunday, January 29th, has been designated as Home Group Sunday. We would love for the current home groups to join us for the Sunday service together as a group. Then, following the service, we will have a meeting to discuss home groups, give group members an opportunity to share about their experiences, and to see who from the community would like to be involved in a home group. We would love to expand this program that has been so valuable to so many over the years. Please consider joining us on Sunday, January 29th. And join us on Sunday, February 12th. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure I said the previous line right. It's Sunday, January 29th. Okay. Join us on Sunday, February 12th for our annual Super Bowl game and chili cook-off. We've been doing this for many years, and it always proves to be a very fun evening of great food and fellowship. The cost of the evening is $5 or a large pot of your favorite chili. The winners receive cash prizes, a trophy, and bragging rights. Please RSVP to info@trianglecsl.org with the number of people in your party and whether you will be bringing chili for the contest. Another wonderful, delightful event. Okay. And for all of our events following the Sunday celebration service, we invite everyone to bring a sack lunch or to go to one of the nearby restaurants, like Hooters. I just can't stand it. It cracks me up to bring back something back as we break bread together between the service and the meditation. Now, in the comfort of your own homes or here, please stand for our January affirmation. This is a call and response. Please repeat it with meaning. There is one life. That is God's life. That life is my life now.
There is one life. That life is God's life. That life is my life now.
I am a living embodiment of the divine.
I am a living embodiment of the divine.
Furthermore, I see the world as one expression of its power and presence.
Furthermore, I see the entire world as one expression of its power and presence.
Like a moving, living, breathing kaleidoscope of color, we are all connected to the one single source.
Like a moving, living, breathing kaleidoscope of color, we are all connected to the one single source.
Today, I commit to being bold in my expression of life.
Today, I commit to being bold in my expression of life.
I give thanks in advance, knowing with unwavering faith that the good of God is with me each and every day.
I give thanks in advance, knowing with unwavering faith that the good of God is with me each and every day.
I surrender my falsehoods, my fears, and my doubts, freeing myself to live in celebration.
I surrender my falsehoods, my fears, and my doubts, freeing myself to live in celebration.
This one life is my life right now, and I celebrate it out loud.
This one life is my life right now, and I celebrate it out loud.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Now let's turn within for a quick moment as I speak a benediction on our service. And if you want to sit down, you can. And if you don't want to, you don't have to. I'm so grateful for the joy of today. I'm so grateful to be reminded that I'm co creating a magnificent, joyful life, co creating with God, with the power, the spirit of the universe, that energy that makes each one of us who we are. And without each one of us, the world wouldn't be the same. And so everything is in divine right order. This is a new beginning, a great beginning, and we move forward into January, into our lives, into our communities with energy, with creativity, with abundance and joy, and I'm grateful. So it is.
And so it is. So it is. I just want to add one thing when Babs was talking about prayer. So, and since we really talked about realization today, is that we all face at some point in times uncertainty in times of challenge in our lives, right? So we don't hide it here. We don't hide it. We don't cook it. We don't cook it, coat it. We don't put it underneath the rug or spiritual bypass our lived experience, right? We're living those experiences right now. And so we honor, what it is that we're going through. And yet we support each other. We support each other by knowing the truth for each other. So there may be times when you cannot know the truth for yourself. And so, and that's okay. That's okay. You just get to be where you are. But what I want you to know about prayer is that, we have people here that are trained, ministers and practitioners that are trained to see the truth when you can't. And so that is why you reach out for prayer. That's why you reach out for a practitioner session. This is a really, shameless plug for prayer and for practitioner sessions. But the truth is that people are trained to do that. And Reverend Ken Gordon used to say, if you believe that I believe this for you, then borrow my faith. Borrow my faith. Because I can know it for you when you can't. Betty can know it for you can't. Carol can know it. Heather can know it. Babs can know it. Diane can know it. Right? We can know it for you when you can't. So reach out for prayer. Don't think you have to go through things by yourself or all alone, because you absolutely do not. All y'all out there, that's for you too. Thank you all so very much for being here. Have a great week. I love you very much. If you want one of the sheets that our announcements, Sharon and Susan will be handing them out at the door.